Okay, good evening everyone. Here we go again. We are here in AIGA podcast office with our guest Adam Fox, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, main coach and head coach of Kazakhstan top team.
For 2 years.
For 2 years, and
Amazing.
we hope it's gonna be forever. So Adam, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
It's our amateur initiative in terms of podcasting and talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, fighting, lifestyle, MMA, and all about that.
Okay.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
We are glad you came.
The main idea for this to be just like as casual conversation as I guess, just to have fun, to get insight of people who are of interest to us.
Okay.
Like insight about jiu-jitsu, how it's getting along. I think you can have like one of the best insights, like perspective, since you've been here for 2 years.
Okay.
You have like the measuring stick and like where we were and how far we like in Kazakhstan.
Well, we went and
So-
improved.
Can you tell everybody who's like not familiar with you, like how did you end up in Kazakhstan in the first place?
Just
And
maybe
what-
introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Yeah.
Adam Fox, Portland, Oregon, USA. Started jiu-jitsu, I think like almost 22 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
But I took 8 years off in the middle for university and work and life, whatever happens. When I started, it was like we didn't have YouTube or really any like really good coaches. We had good coaches, but the highest level in my state was blue belt. So we were just for 2-3 years we were doing like armbar from mount, dude, and that was it. Because we didn't know anything. My coach would go down to California and learn from Chris Howder. He was one of the first 12 non-Brazilian black belts in the world. So like the group, the Dirty Dozen, the guys that got their black belts that work from Brazil.
Oh, that
So-
sounds awesome. Dirty dozen.
Yeah, the Dirty Dozen, man. So and he was under Higan Machado, who recently came to Kazakhstan. So that's like my lineage, is like Higan, Chris Howder, Eric Hemphill, then myself. And so like Eric would fly down to California for a week. He'd learn like 3 or 4 new moves. We'd come back, and that's all we'd do for 6 months, because that's like all we knew. So like the learning was kind of slow, and it was like rustic. We just show up and beat each other up, man. Like we'd shrimp up and down the mats, and they're like, it's like shrimping on carpet, dude. We didn't have Dolomer or tatami, so like your shoulders are bleeding, and everyone's just going super hard and kicking each other in the face and stuff. And
But you were hooked from where? Like, why did you do it? You did some wrestling before, or background?
I did a
wrestling?
little bit of wrestling in high school, but when I started high school, my grades weren't really good, so I could practice with the team, but I couldn't compete because my grades weren't high enough. And in high school, like I had a super big mouth, like I would always just talk shit to people and stuff, but I didn't know how to fight at all, so I just get beat up all the time. But I still, I'm getting punched and I'm still talking shit. And I was like,
That's the worst combination.
yeah. So it's like, man, I gotta do something.
You're
about
like
this.
wheating, man. Can't fight.
But if you end up in UFC or in kind of professional promotion, it's good, you learn
No,
something.
but you have to.
Yeah.
You have to back it up. You have to
Yeah.
know how to fight.
Yeah,
Because if you keep losing, people say, "Oh, he's just."
But today, as you see, like the trend is like Conor McGregor
Trash
or
talk?
other trash
Yeah,
talk makes
yeah,
money,
yeah,
they
yeah.
make money on that.
Yeah, man.
It's also a talent, I would say.
Yeah, if you can
So-
back it up. I
So
couldn't.
rewinding it back, so you in high school, you did wrestling, but didn't compete, and then
Yeah.
like were you so wholeheartedly invested in wrestling? No, right? As in jiu-jitsu.
No, not really, man. I just, I like the team sports aspect, like we played American football, did like team sports in the school, and then wrestling was just like kind of the next progression. I didn't try it, so I wanted to try it. And it was fun, it was cool, and like taught me a little bit how to, take care of myself and stuff and be a little more confident. I don't know, like a lot of kids growing up probably aren't that confident, and I was,
For sure.
confident but scared too, like high school is a new environment and everything.
Not sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that really started helping me build my confidence. But yeah, I was just talking all the time, and it got so bad to where like I had to find new ways ways to walk home from school because like the bullies were waiting for me, you know. So I was like, shoot, I'm gonna go out the back door today, you know. And like I was like, man, that has to change. And so I was just walking down the street one day and this jiu-jitsu school opened. I didn't know it was jiu-jitsu. It said martial arts, you know. So they taught like Jeet Kune Do, like Bruce Lee's martial art.
Style, yeah.
They had like Filipino stick fighting, just like Kali,
very popular,
and jiu-jitsu. And it was like the day before I'd gotten beat up, right? And so this guy, he mounted me. I didn't even know what mount was, but we got in a fight. He knocked me down. He sat on my chest, and he was just punching me. And I was like, man, he's like, just give up. I was like, fuck you, dude. And he kept punching me. And so I walked into this martial arts school, and there was just the lone teacher there. And I was like, I told him what happened, you know, I had like black eye, and you know, my face is all swollen. I was
So
like,
you were pissed?
well, dude, I was tired of getting beat up, you know, like that's about it.
Yeah, that's the difference. Tired or pissed?
Yeah, and I told him, I was like, look, this is what happened. He sat on my chest, and so he shows me. He's like, okay, here, and he showed me how to grab the arm, oompa, you know, roll it over into guard, and that was it, dude. I was like, okay, yeah, okay. It's so, I was like, man, it's so easy, because when the guy was on top of me, I was like, I couldn't move, and he was like, no, just do this, and I was like, oh man, it's that easy, and he's like, you know, he's like the first person that told me, he's like, dude, jiu-jitsu's easy, man. You just, you know, you just come, if you know how to do it, then it works. And I couldn't afford to train or anything. I was just a kid, you know, and like I said, I wasn't that good in school, so my parents weren't really happy with me, so they weren't like gonna give me money to go.
Was it expensive at that time?
No, it was like $40 a month, but I mean, for a kid in high school, it's kind of a lot of money, you know, I don't have a job or anything. And so I talked with him, and the trainer, his name was Key Chrissy. He was part of Straight Blast Gym, which is actually where Connor fights out of in Ireland. The Straight Blast Gym started from Matt Thornton in Portland, Oregon, my home. And so he spread that like first all over the United States, and then he took it around the world.
So John kind of took his
It's under Matt Thornton.
Ireland, right?
Yeah. John Kavanaugh is under Matt Thornton. So.
Some knowledge.
Yeah, the history, man, it's cool. And he told me, he was like, look, if you come every day, right, you can't miss a day, and you got to clean the mats, and he's like, I'll let you train for free. And so, but it was a struggle, man, because like I would go for the kids class, which was right after school, so I'd like walk to the bus stop, ride the bus for an hour, show up, take the kids class, but then I had to wait for the Jeet Kune Do class to finish, then the jiu-jitsu class to finish, and then clean up everything. And sometimes the guys wanted to stay after, and I'm like, man, just go home, you know, so I could like, but I'd sit there and do my homework and train and watch the big guys do what they do.
Same way
But
I
I
see
love
these
stories
girls
like
on
that.
the reception sitting in our academy.
Now,
They're like, guys, when you finish, go shower.
Get out of here.
I mean, in retrospect, it sounds so like a you know, samurai type of like spirit. You know, you have to like work for it, right? You clean the gym.
Yeah,
when you like Cain
Yeah.
Velasquez cleans the gym, so you do that routine, you earn it, you deserve it. You're not given it for free. That sounds awesome.
This also shows the attitude
inspiring.
of the instructor. He's not money earning, you know, purpose. He doesn't have only money earning purpose.
That's
He sees the guy needs some help, improvement, then he finds the way for you to stay, you know, to learn some technique.
Because I've been in
It's very
commercial
important.
schools, it kind of sucks. You don't trust them 100% also, because all they want from you is your money. It kind of feels like that. So I'm not willing to also like, you know. They're not my
commercial is not the
no.
best way, you know. Sometimes you need that kind of approach, right, from instructor.
Different gyms for different people.
Gyms,
you know.
So what age were you at that time?
I was 15 when I started. Now I'm
Pretty young.
36, almost 37 now.
But he taught you discipline, right? Like if you want to do it, you can't miss it a day, right?
Yeah, I can't miss a day.
That's
Can't
fucking
have to stay and clean the mats. It's like.
Was it hard?
Jiu-jitsu was hard, man. Like I wasn't used to it, you know, like how to move. You guys know when you start jiu-jitsu, it's like, you know, now for you it's probably easy, right? You see like, oh, this variation of the triangle, and you're like, oh, okay, I can figure that out. But like, if you've never done it before, man, you're just like, you know, it's like doing pendulum. You know, you're just like you can't do it the first couple of times, you know, and it's
Because muscles
Yeah.
doesn't listen to you, right?
and dude, I was like a little punk kid too. I had like long hair and stuff. So I'd be wrestling and my hair would be on the ground, and then like a knee would go on my hair, and then like it ripped chunks of my hair out. That happened 2 times, and that's when I shaved my head, dude. I never went back. I was like, dude, I had earrings. I was like, earrings gone, dude. Hair shaved. I'm in for life.
So you were like a rocker kid? Like
Yeah,
you
dude, just
punk rock.
a little weirdo, dude.
I studied in high school for 1 year. Like it was exchange program. I thought it was all in the movies, but everything that's in movies is true about high school. Popular kids, punk rock kids, all stuff. Bullies is everything.
Oh, for sure. You have the sports kids, the
true.
skaters,
It's different, but it's
Because
all
we
true.
watch
Skaters.
here, we watch it on TV only, in Hollywood movies.
Like
And we
classical
think it's just a
comedies,
movie,
high
it's
school.
not true. But my personal experience like that, when I first came to US, I saw like, oh, it's like in the movies, you know. It's like my impression was like that.
High
But
school in particular, everything in like classical high school movies is true. Turned out to be true. Popular kids, unpopular kids, like
Yeah,
they
oh,
eat
for
different,
sure.
like something get
Who
worse.
were popular?
I hacked the system.
Wrestlers
Like,
or
no,
football players? Who
Football,
had girlfriends?
football players were number one, but wrestlers were studs. No one messed with
No one
wrestlers.
messed with the wrestlers.
Because
Yeah.
wrestlers,
For
they
sure,
start
for
at
sure.
5 years old. They
Yeah.
fucking studs.
Yeah.
And I did wrestling for 1 season. But I hacked the system. When I first, so it's Minnesota, a really small town. And they took for school newspaper, they took my picture and wrote short article about me, like blah blah blah, exchange student from Kazakhstan coming. And I took a picture like in my stance and I said that I'm a boxer. I was bullshitting. they were scared of me. I wasn't bullied until the end of wrestling. Like I never was bullied, but at the end of wrestling seasons, wrestlers kind of sense something that I'm not. But everyone else, like once I picked a fight in a high school, like when there's a canteen. In the canteen.
Oh, like
I just stupidly,
cafeteria or
yeah,
whatever?
cafeteria.
Yeah.
I just stupidly picked a fight on someone, and like we were like there was no fight, we were broken up. But everyone was like, "Oh shit, he's a boxer," and I hacked the system. I wasn't bullied, but maybe they were more naive. It's in Minnesota, it's a small town.
No, man, kids are scared, dude. If they think you can fight, bro, they're just like, no. You're like.
And Chinese movies help me too, like Bruce Lee movies,
Yeah.
Jackie Chan movies. I look like probably they thought like he must. Know how
So
to
your
fight.
story is very similar. I mean, I would listen some different stories for popular fighters. Very similar. Like George St. Pierre, he was bullied at school. That's why he took karate classes. Then he started to train to protect himself, basically. So most of the stories like that.
I'm a big fan, like, getting bullied sucks, man, but I think it's good for kids, you know? Like, America now has this thing where it's like, you're soft. They have to be, like, politically correct, like, you don't, and it doesn't offer any challenge in life, you know? So, like, some kids, you know, the nerds, they get bullied, but they sit there and they study and they figure out how to work computers, man, and then they're the rich dudes with the hot girl, you know? And it's like, yeah, if you get picked on all the time, it like motivates you. Like, I don't want this anymore. Pain motivates, you know.
And what's inspiring for me to hear a story like that is that you didn't quit, you didn't give up, and so it shows there's always way out. Don't be depressed. Don't like hang on yourself. Don't put your head down. It can be worked around. You can't fight. Learn how to fight.
Yeah.
It's always there's a solution to any problem. You just don't have, and that's what inspires me to people, like especially in that young tender age, like 15, 14. You didn't go for drugs. You didn't go. You went straight to like for a solution. Yeah.
It's experience.
Tried everything.
Yeah, it's tried. So bullying in one sense might be
No,
helpful, but my opinion is a little bit different. That I think if you surround person with good upbringing and good environment and just direct him or her in right direction, there is no need for bullying, you know. In good environment, people, it's like, you know, why kids from the private school usually end up in higher positions in life. Why?
Yeah.
Because of their education or because of the money? Yeah, that's true, but also because of the environment.
Well, yeah, man. A lot of life is about who you know. And it's like, economically speaking, like whatever class you grow up in, right? It's very rare for someone to jump or fall more than one level, right? So like
there are some examples, but very rare.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right.
In our country, what I see like evident to me, and also like people, but also I think it's a worldwide thing, and it's just a law. People who grew up rich, like who inherited everything, they lose everything as soon as their parents go. Like they have that tendency, they're not like as adapted to life as the like hustlers, like young. Like if you are born in a poor environment, it doesn't mean that you can succeed. I think if you're
doesn't mean you can't, but it's harder.
even
It's a lot
I
harder.
think it makes
It's a lot
you
harder.
even hungrier. And if you don't give up, like you did in June, it makes your chances like way bigger because you're hungrier. You're always trying new stuff. You're always trying to earn. You don't want to come back to that poverty. So it makes. So I think it's a matter of attitude. Like if you instill in your kid that nothing is impossible, like you can do it, just like go and do it, hustle, like work for it. Then it can be achieved. I mean, you stick
Anything,
around.
yeah.
What I like about your story, you stick around for like from that 15 how you start, you stick around for 22 years. That's like
8-year
it's a
break,
lifetime.
but,
8-year break happens, yeah. Like I did jiu-jitsu for like maybe 10 years, but in between I had also 8-year break.
Yeah,
So
life
I
happens.
almost so it's almost like 2 years, like of course.
So you started training
you
there
did
and
black
you
belt.
kept training from white belt to black belt?
I was at Straight Blast until I got my blue belt from Chris Howder, and that's when, like, of course life happened, but that's, you know, a little bit of an excuse. I probably could have still trained, but jiu-jitsu just became boring for me. It was like, we didn't have that next level instruction, and like, for my group, I was probably like the best. We didn't have like a big, you know, following. A lot of people, that was around the time UFC 1 or 2 came out. So like really nobody even knew what jiu-jitsu was. I didn't know. I just went into this and he said I could come. So I was like, okay, I'll do jiu-jitsu then, you know. I was thinking I'd find karate because I was the same. I was watching Bruce Lee movies, dude. I wanted to.
So if you end up
So
in
what year
karate
was
class, karate dojo, you would stay probably karate, no?
I would have until I figured out it was bullshit. And I was still getting my ass kicked. Yeah, I figured it out.
No, some karate works though.
Yeah, dude, you know, there's good stuff in every martial art.
But what year was that? So the audience can know, like, can be clear. It's before UFC when you started.
15, man. So that's like what I was 8. That was like 1995, 96, something like that.
95, 96. Wow. We have no idea about jiu-jitsu back then. Like,
Yeah.
so
Around the
what
time
you're
UFC
describing, what you're describing, blue belt as an instructor is like our reality in 2010, probably.
Was what?
It's our reality in 2010 in Kazakhstan.
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
one blue belt who
Yeah.
kind of taught everyone, and like he learned something. I mean, YouTube was around, stuff like that, but we didn't have black belt.
Yeah, I remember when
So-
a purple belt came from California, dude, and we were just like, whoa, dude, this guy's God, man. Like, what, like, he was doing stuff we'd never seen before, you know. I was like, man, I'll never be that good. Purple belt, wow. So, it was just slow learning curve, and I got, like, discouraged. It wasn't really that fun anymore. I started doing MMA after that for, like, 3 years, like, kickboxing and stuff, but then kind of faded off into university and did that, and the gym Straight Blast was cool, but in the beginning it was like the crew. It was the whole, like, just the guys, you know, and like hanging out, talking, doing the thing. And then as jiu-jitsu became more popular, it kind of turned into more of a business, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But it's like really family oriented.